Hello, my name is Micah, and this is my 1996 Murphy Moose. As a kid, I've always wanted to fly, and it was a huge dream come true when I was able to actually get into aviation and start flying. So I started flying in college in preparation to go into the military. Graduating college, I went in via ROTC, joined the military, and started flying for the United States Navy. And as of now, I'm retired F-18 fighter pilot from the United States Navy. During that time, I've always had a very high interest in just general aviation, and just to be able to just go out and just have fun, not really worry about too many things. When you're flying tactically, it's a thrill, it's a rush, but it's a lot of work. So to be able to own my own plane and just go out and just have fun is really how I got into looking into a plane such as a Murphy Moose. So the Murphy Moose, this particular one is serial number 1. I think right now, me and my partner, we're the 3rd or 4th owners of this particular plane. And as you can see, the doors are propped open right now, so we're doing a little bit of work on it, a few upgrades, but actually, as you guys know, planes evolve and the technology needs to evolve with them. So what we're doing is really just making the interior look good. A couple of years ago, maybe about a year ago, we did a avionics upgrade, which the plane already had a Skyview, Dynon Skyview in it. We added Avidyne 440 for GPS, IFR capability, and then we also brought in a G5 display as a standalone or backup to our Dynon displays. And it's been a blast to fly. The plane itself has a 540 motor in it, so 250 horsepower. As you can tell, it's tail wheel, and it's designed to be short takeoff and landing capabilities. Maybe we'll take pictures of the wings themselves and the horizontal stabs. You'll see some of the vortex generators on there, actually giving it some pretty nice flying capabilities.
Today's video is brought to you by CoFlight. CoFlight is perhaps the most important tool that you need for your aircraft maintenance. Think of it as a one-stop shop to schedule your maintenance, coordinate with your AP mechanic, and keep proper records of everything. CoFlight also has some cool features like keeping digital records of your logbook and a built-in scheduler for multiple partners who may share the same aircraft. The best part about CoFlight is that everything is done by the tip of your fingers. You can get started using CoFlight today absolutely free. When you use the coupon code MojoGrip, you can get started today for 30 days absolutely free. Check out coflight.com or use the link in the description below.
So my story, like pretty much everybody's story, it's unique and it has its own challenges or whatever else and just ups and downs. But like I mentioned earlier, when I think back, I do not ever remember a time when I didn't want to fly. When I was a kid, I used to jump off the top of the house with trash bags, either parachuting or trying to make gliders or whatever else. And so growing up, I had pictures of Navy aircraft in my bedroom. And the main reason I went into the Navy is my dad was a retired Master Chief in the Navy. So that's the highest rank of E9 that you can, or a highest rank enlisted that you can get. And so just growing up, I always had an affinity for the Navy. I always had just positive input information about the Navy from him. So naturally, being able to combine flying with aviation, flying with the Navy, it led me to naval aviation, start looking at that very hard. So when I started flying in college, I already knew I already had a plan on going into naval aviation, and I had a scholarship. And prior to that, my college years, I was actually enlisted in the Navy. So joining up, coming out of college, in order to fly fighters or fly any plane in the Navy, you gotta, for the most part, you need to have a degree or be on a path to get a degree. So I knew I needed to go to college, but coming from rural Arkansas, middle class family, not a whole lot of money laying around for me personally to go to college, so I kind of needed to find my own way. So I was a decent student going up through high school, but again, no one was knocking down doors throwing money at me. So I decided to enlist in the Navy, and I got picked up for a commissioning program. At the time, this is the early 90s, so there's a program called the Broad Opportunity for Officer Selection and Training. Now that program is affectionately called Boost, and it doesn't really exist as merged into some other commissioning programs that the Navy has now, but what it does would allow a person either that's already active duty or a person coming in directly out of high school to enlist and then go to a college preparatory type of school. And once you finish that school, then you can either go to the Naval Academy or go to a college that offered Naval ROTC. Me personally, I wanted part of the college experience as well, and as far as the location I needed to be, it kind of felt like I wanted to go to a school down in the area that I was raised. So I actually picked University of Memphis, and I went to the Navy ROTC there, and that's where I started flying in the summertime. I initially started out as a naval flight officer, then I transitioned to pilot later on. So the first plane I actually flew was the S-3 Viking. So most people may not have ever heard of that plane. It's old. They decommissioned in 2009 was the last time they flew it. But President Bush at the time was actually flown out to an aircraft carrier in that particular plane. So you can go back and maybe look that up and see that, and you'll see the picture of the plane. The S-3B Viking is the one we flew. Finishing up my time in S-3B, during that I did one tour there, and I put in for a transition over to pilot. During that time, my entire time in what we call the fleet is once you learn how to fly the plane and you're out operating. I still flew general aviation, so I flew Cessnas, Barons, or whatever else, just because I had a passion for flying, and I always liked it. Like I mentioned earlier, so being able to just continue to fly and have fun and not do it necessarily for work has always been my passion. So again, getting back to kind of why I got into and looked for and found a Murphy Moose. Originally, I've always wanted to fly Huskies, and so I used to go around and I'd look at those Huskies and I'm like, man, those are really cool planes and just the flying qualities. And so going back to my naval aviation days, I flew at the aircraft carrier. So flying tailwheel in a lot of ways there's some unique similarities. There's somewhat surprising similarities of flying a tailwheel aircraft and flying at the ship. So it was again a way to kind of scratch that itch. So I'm looking at a tailwheel aircraft. I looked at the Husky just because of where you can take those things, get in and out. And then one day I saw this plane in a hangar somewhere, and I was like, man, that is a really cool plane. What is this thing? And so I started walking around. I looked at it and kind of crawled up in it, and I was like, man, it sits up high. It's like side-by-side seating is awesome because a lot of the tail wheels as you're in, they're tandem seating. And while, yeah, it's cool to get a friend up and get flying, it's even cooler when you can sit side by side and kind of talk and show things that way. So this plane had a lot of just unique qualities about it. It kind of scratched some of my personal itches of challenging as far as landings with the tail wheel aspect of it. You got your side-by-side seating, and then just the performance of it being a short takeoff and land type of aircraft. It just really piqued my interest and had me looking forward. So actually a friend of mine actually had the plane for a while, and I was actually able to fly it for a few hours beforehand. When they got ready to get rid of the plane, I was like, don't let it go, I'll buy it from you. And then so I got the plane from a friend, and it's been awesome to continue flying and continue to work on it and upgrade things as you'll see. So my flying is all about having fun, and so with this plane being able to lift what it can lift, I could put a lot of good gear in the back. So some of the things, I have an inflatable stand-up paddleboard. I sling it out there, and there's plenty of airports that are near waterways and beaches or whatever else. So I look to go do that Also like flying. Virginia has over 100 wineries and cideries, and it's just really pretty to fly into those different places. So I'll take this plane and fly around. So it cruises at about, we mission plan it at about 130 knots, which isn't extremely fast, but it's not necessarily too slow. And you can buy back some time, and you can get all over the state of Virginia doing it. So it's really about just having fun, flying to different places, and sightseeing is what we use this plane mostly for. As far as some of the maintenance aspects of this, so this plane is an experimental aircraft. So some of the maintenance you could do yourself, or have smartly choose your partner, such as I did. So my partner in this plane, he's at A&P, so there's quite a bit of maintenance that we do and things that we can do on our own. But it's relatively been low maintenance with the 540, and the aircraft itself has been relatively low maintenance. So over the last year, just needed to buy oil, put some fuel in it, and then keep it wiped out and cleaned up is really mostly what we've done so far. Nowadays with these, they're about $100,000 to probably get in one. I've not seen any used ones or pre-built ones less than that. Maybe there's some out there. And then if you're going to build one, then obviously $100,000 is going to be about what it's going to take to get in it. Having a passion for aviation throughout my life has given me several opportunities, and so one of my main objectives is to continue to spread that passion for aviation as an effort to help underprivileged, underserved communities. And there's a lot of opportunities, both business as well as employment-wise, within aviation. So exposing, using this plane and other planes that I have access to fly is going to allow me to continue to expose at an early age as we can, kids, grown-ups, whoever's interested in aviation, just sharing that passion and kind of using that as an outlet and as a mechanism to progress society.